misunderstanding.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Really interesting. Um, Any other? Is there anything else you'd like to share about that piece?
I think that's about it in that piece, yeah.
Okay. How about the poem that you've provided us for the week? Are there any preliminary notes you'd like to give us about it?
Yeah, I wrote this when I was like 17,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in writing camp, and it was a response to a Pablo Neruda poem we read. And I'll like read the segment of it that like inspired me to write this. It was like part of an assignment. We were supposed to like take some inspiration from something and
Okay.
write about it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like I'm the same person I was when I was 17, but I feel like it's still like I don't
It's
know,
still
good enough, I guess.
relevant. So you have this segment with you that inspired this?
Yeah, it's the title of the poem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Um, Perhaps it was just a whisper, a raindrop, but its cascade still falls and falls. Maybe it was the memory of those lonely nights, and the way I whispered conversations we would have, all candid and passionate as I imagined you lying beside me. I just wanted to talk. Maybe it's the rain and how it keeps falling. It brings me back to when I first saw you. But maybe it wasn't any of that. Maybe it was a phrase you once said and someone repeated. Maybe it was a color, a smell, or the way something felt. Maybe it was the color of someone's eyes that sparkled the image inside my mind. Perhaps it was of my own seeking, or that it never really faded away. No matter the reason, no matter the spark, your face was reflected on the puddle of tears inside my mind. At that moment, I wish I could have whispered my name in your ear, that it would resonate inside your head and you would remember me.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Even written at 17 years old, it's very pretty, and you've got a lot going on here. So this was inspired by Pablo Neruda, and is there anything else you felt was going into this poem when you wrote it?
I guess that when I was 17, I still believed like I don't know, like I guess in the kind of like fairy tale loft kind of thing, and I never really like had like a fully fledged like relationship or anything, and like
Mhm.
I guess most of it was kind of like just things in my head and how I thought that they would feel or how they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do catch a little bit of that. You're like the way I whispered conversations we would have. It's like a total fantasy, just like being made up in your head,
Yeah.
and then you're sort of putting words into someone else's mouth, imagining what they would talk about. Where was I going with this? But
And it's also like I guess like the main image that I would want like the reader to get from the poem is like the last two lines, and it's how like sometimes you like someone that doesn't like you back, or maybe like they don't necessarily pay that much attention to you,
Mhm.
and you have like this whole fantasy in your head about how something's like how you want something to work out, but then in the end like you also don't have like the courage or like the situation isn't right for you to like seek out and like talk to them, and it's kind of this thing where you wish that in some way that person would remember that you exist and they would contact you instead, and like most of the time it doesn't happen.
So, one thread I'm seeing here is your the people talking in your stories always seem to have an idea of how things are supposed to be, and then they're dealing with the reality of them not working out. Um, do you think there's something like wrong with the way we present these narratives of romance to kids, or?
I mean, I guess in a sense, absolutely, because I guess that you have a lot of like movies and even like literature and stuff where you have like these two people that are like complete opposites. Like you know that in real life, if they met up, like nothing would work out. Like they fight all the time, and yet for some like magical reason, they end up together in whatever story it is. And I guess that that sells well because we all want to believe that that's possible, and it probably comes out from the own idea that we haven't been able to make it work.
Very
Um,
true.
but yeah, I guess like when you don't know anything about love really, you kind of believe those things, and then you go out thinking that like you just have to like meet that one person, and then like you know the whole Disney soundtrack will follow.
And you can just like put the words into their mouth, and everything will just play out exactly
Yeah.
as expected. Um, there was another line in here. Your face was reflected on the puddle of tears inside my mind. Um, For some reason, it reminded me of your last work as well. Um, how there's just a lot of like fluidity going on, always a lot of liquid, especially associated with the way people remember things. Is this intentional? Do you have like an idea of memory being a fluid sort of concept?
I didn't like realize that it kept, popping up because these are two works that are 3 years apart.
True.
So I had no idea like that happened, but probably like if you keep reading things I've read, like you'll encounter things like that. And I guess I would want to say that living in an island had no effect on it, but I guess it does. And I don't know. I do know that like people back home love going to the beach, and I like hate going to the beach. And there's something just so sad and tragic about being in the beach, and I don't know what it is. Um, I don't know. I guess like I just imagine like whenever I'm writing and there's a scene on the beach, it's usually like a very sad scene for some reason, and it's usually about things like that, um, like losing someone.
They're like pensively staring out into the ocean, and
Yeah.
they're like,
But some people see it completely different. They see it like, oh, like sunshine and like all this stuff, and we're gonna build castles, and it's gonna be great, and it's like sunbathing, and I love it. I don't know, I don't know why that is,
hmm
but I guess it does reflect on my work, and I had no idea it did.
very interesting. Hmm. So, were there any lines in here that you were particularly that you want to share? Any hidden meanings about, or
Um, I don't think there's hidden meanings.
um,
Yeah, like back then, I think I wrote like very like I guess now I would want to be like more like postmodern and like hide things and like let the reader like figure out what they mean. But like back then, I was just like I just want to write something pretty that people will like. That sounds like me.
very nice. And I see a lot of development in your work. Um, even looking at this chronologically. Um,
You
hmm.
think I'm getting crazy? Don't think that.
um, no, I wouldn't say you're getting crazier. I'd say your characters might be.
A lot of people think that your characters are like reflections of yourself, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting smarter and I know how to like develop these characters now. I don't know. But maybe I am, bottom line, just getting crazier every day. Yeah, the piece I read, like the short story, is on graffiti.
Oh, very nice.
So I'll read it again on Wednesday.
Yeah, so if you didn't get a chance to hear it around this time, you can come in. You can come into the periodicals room and listen to Gabby read it again. And maybe you saw something we didn't see. You can talk to her about that afterwards.
Or you can tell me that it sucks. You can come up to me and be like, please just leave.
You can tell Gabby anything you want. She's a very open-minded person. So, in addition to graffiti, I also understand you're on the board for the Spanish Literary Magazine.
Yeah, that is something that we're launching for the first time October 16th, also in the Current Periodicals room. But, like, we'll put up flyers when it's closer to the date. It's going to be mostly, like, PDF format release. We will have, like, a couple of, like, copies, but we will just, like, give them out, to, like, the president and stuff like that. Have a couple of copies in the library if anyone wants to check them out. And basically, it's just because we thought that there were enough people on campus who liked reading in Spanish and wrote in Spanish, and it's also open to undergraduates and graduate students all across the globe. So we have some entries from like Colombia and some from like other schools in the States and stuff like that.
Wow, that's awesome. So, getting plenty of other people involved with this. If someone wanted to submit, is there still a window for that, or?
There will be a new window before the semester ends, and that would come out in the next edition.
All right. Can you just give us the contact information really quickly?
Well, it's REV tinta extinta at gmail.com, but I can give that to you because like it's a complicated name for those who don't speak Spanish and stuff. So
Okay. Well, I'll post it to the Facebook page as well. So,